Hello, check, check. How is my sound? How's my lighting? I have way too much light on this side, don't I? Let me see if I put that up there, if that'll help. And it seems like it's still too bright. Oh no. What if I put this down there? Is that better? I think that's a little bit better. But it just like fell to me. Let me see. Is that all right? Am I balancing it out or no? How's my sound? Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, try to learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for the tube of you and me, and it's an infotainment platform. Hit that like button if you don't mind being so kind. I would much appreciate it, muchly. And Kelly Flanagan, I think you look great. You are a sweetheart, my dear. Do I know you? Are you new to me? Am I new to you? Thanks for coming in. What a lovely Italian name. How's your Valentine's Day? I hope it's good. You're new. You are so sweet to come on in and say hi. Have you watched my videos before, or is this like a brand new thing? Because I got to tell you, I'm crazy. It's okay so far, LOL. I try to be very reasonable. You know, my background is that I'm actually a licensed mental health professional for decades, and I'm married to someone who's a first responder, including law enforcement. I've worked in the courts. I've been a university professor, adjunct, not like full-time, but I have 4 kids, new grandmother. I don't take myself that seriously, but I like to be serious. I mean, I enjoy being serious, and I do like to keep it light, but I try not to go too heavy into the conspiracy theories. But right now I feel like there's a huge conspiracy going on that must be spoken about. It's okay so far. LOL. You're funny. I have watched them. Oh, you've watched my crazy videos? Well, thank you. It's so cool that you're here. So make sure that you're still subscribed. I should do this stuff at the end rather than the beginning, because it's so boring and we don't want to jump right into stuff. Make sure you're still subscribed. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think would like it. Turn on your notification bell to ring. I always want to mention the wax that I have in my mouth covering my braces. Yesterday, it was the first video I think I did with no wax, and it was all right. But the thing I noticed is that I didn't speak any better, because the braces screw up your speech anyway. So I was like, screw that. I'm just going to put the wax in. Oh, you are too kind, Kelly. You're making me blush. You're very sweet. So I'm curious what your thoughts are, if you've been paying attention to the Savannah Guthrie mother situation. Nancy Guthrie's 2 weeks in the morning, 2 weeks of being missing. It's so hideous. Oh, good. I sound good. That's awesome. That's very important. So last night I had trouble getting onto my live, and then I lost my stream, I think about an hour in. I'm not even sure at what point I lost the stream, but then I came back on for another hour. So hopefully we won't have that problem tonight. So the big explosive conspiracy that I want to ease into sharing right off the bat without sounding completely nutty and inflammatory. That Nancy Guthrie raised her whole family right there in Tucson, Arizona. So Savannah Guthrie, that's her hometown. Those people have known her since she was a little kid in that community, and they're very proud of her, and everybody knows her. Everybody knows her mom. So they're pretty high profile. I mean, Savannah Guthrie's, I don't know if she's a household name. If not, she's close to a household name. But one of the things that she's most well known for, other than the Today Show, is her extensive interviewing of what I call Trumpstein survivors. Some people are now starting to call the Epstein files Trump Epstein files. I didn't coin the phrase Trumpstein. I heard it somewhere else on YouTube, and I have used it ever since because it works. Earthquake awareness. What's going on? I have been watching JLR nonstop. LOL. OMG. Kelly, then you can fill us in because you are too nice. I like you. You're so good. I try to not critique other content creators. I just try to stay in my lane. And there's things about JLR that I really do appreciate. I think he's out there too much. I think he needs to have a life. And I would say that to him as constructive criticism. And it's, to me, it's a nothing burger. The whole case is going to be a big nothing burger. And yesterday there was somebody in my chat who brought something to my attention that I hadn't noticed about the case. And it fits in perfectly with everything that I've thought all along. What they brought to my attention was a quote that Nancy Guthrie said, and I'll get caught up in the chat in just a second. A quote that Nancy Guthrie said, or I'm sorry, Savannah Guthrie said, when she was addressing the public or addressing the kidnapper, and she had her siblings on either side of her. I think it was the first time. I think that was the very first time. And she said something to the effect of, my mother is kind and compassionate. Talk to her and you'll find out. And it was a direct quote. In fact, let me play this very good 1-minute video about it. It's a direct quote from Silence of the Lambs. And okay, Silence of the Lambs, weird. I'm going to get caught up with your chat, and then I'm going to play the video, and then I'm going to continue on that. Is this about Epstein? So it is. It is about Epstein because Savannah Guthrie uncovered a lot of material with the Epstein survivors, with the Trumpstein survivors, and especially with Virginia Giuffre, who passed away about a year ago, to me, under extremely suspicious circumstances. And Savannah had interviewed Virginia for an expose back in 2019 that got killed like the day before it was supposed to be aired, and it was a Dateline special. And Virginia writes about it in her book. I have her little book. It's 400 pages. I have her book right here. I've read it online for people, so I highly recommend purchasing it. It's extremely illuminating, well written, and answers a lot of questions. But so Savannah interviewed not only Virginia extensively, she interviewed a lot of the what I call Trumpstein survivors. And then in 2020, she interviewed the Trumpster fire, and she won an Emmy for that interview. However, he was irate about the interview from the moment that they were having it in real time. And then ever since, he's hated her, and he called her a crazed lunatic and said she just barked questions at him the whole time and was yelling at him. And then about 10 days ago, after Nancy was missing for a few days, he came out publicly and said how much he's always liked Savannah Guthrie, which is a complete lie. And so I already thought it was really weird, the whole abduction with an 84-year-old of a famous person. I was just like, I smell a rat, like right from jump. And then when I found out the contentiousness in their relationship and what Savannah had been focusing on for the last 6 years, I mean, not only focusing on that, but, she's done a giant body of work with the Trumpstein files. And then her mother disappears the day after the 3 million Trumpstein files are released. The Trumpstein files were released on January 30th, and then Nancy Guthrie goes missing on the 31st. And so there's other suspicious things, but the Hannibal Lector or the Silence of the Lambs reference in speaking to the abductor, not only did she make that reference, but then she had like dead silence right after she said that, talk to her and you will find out. And couple that with the fact that when she found out that her mother was missing, the first phone call she made was to Mark Kelly. And if you don't know who Mark Kelly is, he's the senator, one of the senators of Arizona. He's married to Gabby Gifford, who'd been shot in the face in a parking lot years ago, I think the early 2000s. And he's a retired astronaut, and he's highly decorated. I think he served in another branch of military too, like Navy or Army. Anyway, he's one of the 6 people that put together that video speaking to our military saying you don't have to follow illegal orders. And not only is that true, but I have military in my family and my husband is law enforcement. You are not allowed to follow illegal orders. It is on you. If you say I was just following orders, it doesn't matter, because it's up to you to know what's legal and illegal, and to push back and say, I'm not allowed to follow illegal orders. So you will be charged with a crime if you follow illegal orders. And so basically Mark Kelly has been at war with Hegseth and our president. And then he's the first person that Savannah thinks of calling. And then he's the one who called the sheriff. The Pima County Sheriff is Chris Nanos. And I think it's Nanos. And he's got a really shady past and present. He's under investigation for, I think, 3 different investigations. And then the police chief of the Tucson Police Department put in his resignation 5 days into Nancy going missing. So I haven't played the video yet, but let me make sure that I'm caught up with you guys. I like Nutty, so you're good. And yes, it's about Epstein. I mean, everything is about Epstein. He is central to everything in our politics right now. It's crazy. I mean, dead or alive, he's got a lot of pull. And more people have quit today worldwide. There are a lot of people that have quit today because of their names being mentioned in the Trumpstein files. So, yes, I saw that. Weird. I've never heard of you, but I am enjoying your show. Oh, earthquake awareness. Thank you. Lovely to meet you both. Happy Valentine's Day. So let me play this little video. And yeah, I love trying to keep up with my chat. And, I always apologize for my technological challenges. This is how I share stuff, is with my cell phone. So it's kind of hard to see it, but I just do my best. So I'm trying to go to my history for this 1-minute video that I really wanted to share. Oh, I think this is it. Are you ready? This is wild.
Okay. And this comes from a friend who has a photographic memory and was watching this press conference yesterday and literally got chills when Savannah said this line, because when she heard it, she was like, oh my gosh, that exact line was said in a movie and in the same tone and everything. So,
and not just any movie, for those who are listening in podcast format, From the Silence of the Lambs.
So I went and I found the movie clip, and I have the clip of the press conference yesterday. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. And what I found odd, other than that, is after the line is said, the way that Savannah just pauses and kind of looks at the camera. So here, take a look at the video.
I'm so glad
she is full of kindness
she said that.
and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
That's freaky one way or the other. And you'll let me know in the chat what you think. It's beyond freaky.
Okay. And this comes from a friend who had.
It's freaky because it's an odd sentence too. Talk to her and you'll see. Is that how she says it? Let's play it one more time. But the other thing is that, and I don't want to offend anybody. When I refer to El Presidente, I usually call him Bigly Piggly these days. Bigly Piggly is a little obsessed with Hannibal Lecter. So that's why I think Savannah took the line out of that movie, because she knows who she's talking to, in my opinion.
Photographic memory, and was watching this press conference yesterday and literally got chills when Savannah said this line, because when she heard it, she was like, oh my gosh, that exact line was said in a movie and in the same tone and everything. So,
and not just any movie, for those who are listening in podcast format, From the Silence of the Lambs.
So I went and I found the movie clip, and I have the clip of the press conference yesterday. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. And what I found odd, other than that, is after the line is said, the way that Savannah just pauses and kind of looks at the camera. So here, take a look at the video. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
That's freaky one way or the other. And
is so specific.
You'll let me know in the chat what you think. It's beyond freaky.
Okay. And this comes from a friend who has a photographic memory. And
I don't think that that's accidental. Talk to her and you'll see it's kind of a weird phrase in a sense, because talking is audio, and then seeing is visual. So talking to somebody to see, you know what I'm saying? It's like, talk to her and you'll find out, or it's just a very specific phrase. So I don't think that that's accidental. And then the sentence right before that each of them had, I think that Savannah's was, she's very knowledgeable and compassionate. And then the other one was, she's very kind and gentle or something. So they're not the exact same, but the exact same idea, basically. But that second sentence is the exact same. And I know the first time I heard it, the day that that message was recorded and played, I thought it struck me, but I didn't have that memory, that connection of it being part of Silence of the Lambs. Anna Bees is here. Hey, Anna. So we have a couple of new friends in the chat. Meet Kelly and Earthquake Awareness. And Anna Bees is my main mod these days. She rarely ever misses a live. It's amazing. She's like magic Wonder Woman. Sorry, I just saw that you were on. No problem, dear. And yeah. So yeah, I played that video that I had sent you earlier today. And I think that Kelly and Earthquake are on the same wavelength. I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. Can I read the text that you sent me, Anna? Because that's exactly where my brain has been. Like, you and I are like right on the same wavelength. Is it okay if I read it? For sure. Okay, thanks. So this text that Anna sent me after, actually, I want to read a couple of them, if that's okay. So I sent her the video, and she says, "Oh my gosh, that's over the top. He really did it." So he's blaming Savannah for all the attention of the E-files because she had an interview with Virginia Giuffre. All of those named in the files and him are pissed off and blame Savannah. They can't unalive her. They can't unalive or hurt Virginia anymore because they already did that. So punish the one who brought Virginia to our TVs and told us what happened. These people are so evil. And I said, I want to get into the sheriff next. I said, I think you just nailed it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Now get this. What if Sheriff Chris Nanos did it as a favor for Biggly Piggly, preemptively for a pardon or whatever? And I said, we couldn't make this crap up if we tried. And then I'll read you Anna's last response to that, and then we can discuss. Anna said, I agree. I just can't believe the extremes these people will go to. Although with targeting Savannah through her mom, it's giving a clear message to other journalists. If you go against our regime, bad things can happen. And it was a week after he had Don Lemon arrested. And Don Lemon had covered extensively when Savannah won that Emmy for the interview that he said she was such a crazed lunatic during. So I've seen corrupt law enforcement and I've seen good law enforcement. And day one with this Sheriff Chris Nanos, I knew something was up right away. He was essentially acting like a buffoon. And what I have surmised through the course of my lifetime, especially in the more recent years, is that authority will pull the buffoon card to try to hide the corruption. Because it's not really illegal to be a buffoon, but of course corruption's illegal. However, when it's your job to do something like save people's lives and you fail at your job, being a buffoon is no better than being corrupt. And in legal terms, when it's your job to do something and your margin of error is slim to nil, like Anna's a nurse, and like when you're in the medical field, and with my mental health work, I did a lot of crisis and commitment work where we would say your margin of error is essentially non-existent. If you're wrong, you're going to cost somebody their life. And you've got to make decisions quickly, especially law enforcement. Like, you know, they got to think on their feet and make decisions in milliseconds. And you hesitate and it can cost you your life or somebody else's life. Anyway, you know my point. What am I trying to say? That when I saw what a spineless fish the sheriff was pretending to be, I think pretending. I don't think that's, I think he has a lot more competence than that. But my thoughts at this point are that he's fully involved with this abduction. And that's why he's trying to pretend that he's a buffoon so that he can bumble the case and say, oh, I'm just so goofy, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, a lot of people had a lot of empathy for him right up front and are like, oh, you know, he's just a low profile guy. He's not used to all this attention. And actually, he's covered a lot of high profile cases, and that Gabby Gifford being one of them. So he is used to the spotlight. But any sheriff, any chief, public speaking is what they do all day, every day, basically. They have to have a handle on that, or they're not going to get the job. They're not going to keep the job. But him sending the evidence to a lab in Florida that he says he always sends his evidence to, rather than allowing the FBI to send it to Quantico, I've had a couple of days for that to sink in, and I'm really feeling like it's my opinion that he's trying to control the evidence and the information because he's trying to hide the facts of the case, because he knows exactly what's going on. And if let me see what you guys are saying. Let me put a sock in it for a second. Yay, I'm a friend. Yay. We are friends here, seriously. Like, a lot of the people that watch my channel have been watching since I started, and I started with the Kylie Rodney case 3.5 years ago. And I almost always like she's kind of, her case is kind of like my foundation. So I almost always bring up her case, and law enforcement in her case right away. That was why I started my channel, because I knew that the law enforcement was completely involved and people weren't saying it. And I was like, I need to start a channel to tell people the things that I know for fact. I knew it for a fact. Ugh, that case frustrates me so much, because also with what I know about that type of corruption is that they never get revealed and they never get held accountable because they're law enforcement. Like, if Biggly Piggly's behind this, he's never going to get revealed. He's never going to be held accountable. But yeah, like I said, I'm trying to put a sock in it and get caught up, so I stay caught up. Anyway, yeah, we have all bonded over the Kylie Rodney case, basically. And it's nice. It's like we're old friends. A lot of people that are here, and new people are welcome. I might have offended somebody last night because I was afraid she might have been trolling me, trying to get me to say something negatory about Charlie Kirk to hang me with. And I should have phrased it differently. Like, I was a little defensive, and so I think I offended that person, and I felt bad about that. Hopefully they'll forgive me. It can get a little heated in chat sometimes. So, and you know, in this chat, we don't really have that issue because it's a small group and we pretty much get along. But I do really invite people with different opinions to state their opinions too. Like, I don't want to be like all of the same hive mind. You know, it's fine to disagree. A lot of us disagree about things often, and we all change our opinions too as we get more information. And anytime you see Biggly Piggly acting empathetic, it is always a tell. I don't think he's got the capacity. So yeah, I think that that's absolutely accurate. I agree, ladies. I used to be a Trump supporter, but I think all of them are involved. All of them are involved in the Trumpstein files. I mean, I'm amazed at the level, like, people that can support Pam Bondi, especially after her performance a couple days ago. I'm surprised even that Biggly Piggly can support Pam Bondi after her performance a couple days ago. Anna Bees, were you going to watch that crazy movie that I recommended, the one called What You Wish For? Because that movie really helps me understand why Kristi Noem and Pamela Bondi are acting the way that they are acting. And I'll spit it out before I forget to get back to it if I try to stay caught up with the chat. what I see, what my opinion is that both of those women have been in hot water with Dear Leader recently. So they have a lot of making up to do to try to stay in his graces. And if they don't stay in his graces, it's not just the journalists whose mothers can get abducted, it's anybody's, that they can fall out of windows, fall off of yachts, that their brakes can get cut. For crying out loud, Thomas Massey put out a post today saying things like, my brakes are good, I'm a good swimmer, I don't have any thoughts of injuring myself ever, covering all of his bases, kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene did recently. But again, let me stay caught up. I love being caught up with you guys because your comments are invaluable. And if I get off of the track, then it changes everything. I agree with what you're getting at. I really felt Trump's statement was odd and makes me think he knows what happened to Nancy, why it happened, and where she is. It made me question him anyway. Yeah, especially the comments that he made on the airplane on Air Force One. I think it was a week ago exactly. I think it was last Saturday night where he said things like, oh, well, there's a lot going on behind the scenes in the last couple of hours. I think we're doing really good with this. Maybe I'll try to pull that up on my phone and play it for you guys because it's so peculiar. And I'm thinking that might be the one that you're talking about because that fits with what your comment was. Like, yeah, it seems like he knows exactly what's going on. And that's basically what he's saying is like, yeah, I've got it all under control. And then he's like, you're surprised to hear me say that, aren't you? He says a lot of weird crap. And I think as he's getting more, he's deteriorating, his cognitive functions are deteriorating with his dementia, that he really like outs himself a lot. And for that, we can thank him, right? And I voted for Trump 3 times, but the Epstein files and his unwillingness to do the right thing with them have made me question him. One of the survivors interviewed a couple of days ago, I'll think of her name in a minute, and she voted for Trump 2 times. She didn't vote in the 2020 election, but she voted for him in 2016. She didn't vote at all in 2020. And then she voted for him in 2024 because Trumpstein files. She's one of the survivors. And she thought, he's going to be transparent and he's going to release the files. And she is so mad. Let me see if I can find her name. I like to have people's names. And she speaks really well. She's the one whose boyfriend was red-rummed in 2006. And now, just with this last release of the 3 million files 2 weeks ago that actually discusses some red rums, now she's wondering if her boyfriend getting taken out was related to Epstein. Haley Robeson is her name. So, and she's not the only survivor that I've heard say that they were huge Trump supporters, that they were Republicans, and that, they voted for him and they just don't understand why he switched it up. Oh, and thank you for mentioning the SWAT. Let me see where we're at. It's us against them, girls. The 1% think they can do anything and we will believe them. Right. These billionaires think that they control the world. I mean, some of these billionaires are richer than some countries. So that's really the power play. Somebody like Elon Musk, king of the freaking Mars, right? So also the big thing with that house, that SWAT was last night supposedly is owned by Baird Green. Look that up. Very interesting. I know the name. I will look that up. We do not mind people stating their opinions. Yeah, many people are involved in the e-files on both sides of the aisle. I do plan on watching it. Oh, yes, I saw Thomas Massey's post. Yes, those comments. Okay, Kelly, yeah, the comments on the airplane. So that's what I was going to look up. But let me look up Baird Green real quick. That's wild that it's his house. What, and they're trying to say the people that he rents to are the ones that did it? Or, yeah, I figured the whole SWAT team thing was a crock. That they're just trying to have action, you know, kind of like fire trucks and stuff, you know, excitement, right? Try to look like things are happening. Baird Green, I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about this person. How did you spell it? Baird Green. Okay, yeah, the Hindustan Times is the first one that comes up, and I think that's a very reliable source. Let me read a little bit out loud to you guys. Who is Baird Green? Name circulates online after Arizona SWAT raid in Nancy Guthrie case. Authorities conducted a SWAT operation in Tucson as part of the Nancy Guthrie's disappearance investigation. A SWAT operation was carried out in Tucson. The reporter posted that unconfirmed reports indicate that a Tucson home is targeted in the SWAT action is owned by Baird Green. Separate responses from Grok X's AI chat box also reference claims circulating on the platform naming Green in connection with the property. So, however, officials have not publicly confirmed the ownership. Okay, is it going to tell me who? Okay, now it says, who is Baird Green? Publicly available for professional information indicates that he is currently an attorney with the Arizona Attorney General's office, serving in the Tucson section. He previously worked as chief deputy at the Pima County Attorney's Office, where he was sworn in early 2022, according to his LinkedIn profile. There has been no official statement naming Green as a suspect in the Nancy Guthrie case. Law enforcement agencies have not announced any charges or allegations against him, and online claims linking him to the SWAT targeted property remain unverified. You're going to tell me anything more about him? So, interesting about the chief deputy at the Pima County Attorney's Office, because that police chief of Tucson Police Department retired 5 days into the kidnapping, but he wants to work for Pima County as a administrator, which would make me think he then might be able to put the police chief on an administrative leave and investigate him. I don't know. But the weird thing about Chris Nanos, I said this yesterday, I might have said it already in this video. I think I did, didn't I? That it's weird that he's a Democrat, because almost all law enforcement are Republicans. So it's just weird that he's a Democrat. And you know how Biggly Piggly thinks of Democrats, that they should all be basically beheaded. I'm not even joking, right? What was the other thing I was looking up? Oh, that when President Trump on Air Force One a week ago discussing what he knew about Nancy Guthrie's abduction. Let's see. Okay. Let me just read you what the AI overview says. And maybe we'll play the video too, but I love the AI overviews. Last Friday, so it wasn't a week ago today, it was a week ago yesterday, February 6th, President Trump spoke with the reporters aboard Air Force One while traveling to his estate in Florida, providing an update on the investigation into the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of NBC News anchor Savannah Guthrie. Key points from his discussion include very strong clues. Trump stated that federal investigators, FBI and DOJ, have uncovered clues he described as very strong, could be definitive. Possible suspect identified. When specifically asked if authorities had identified a suspect, the president replied, yeah, could be definitive, suggesting a significant breakthrough in the case. A solution, not just a search. He emphasized that he was not just referring to an ongoing search, but rather a solution that could be revealed fairly soon. Trump reiterated that he had directed federal authorities to assist the Pima County Sheriff's Department and had personally called Savannah Guthrie to offer support. Since those comments, investigators have continued to follow leads, including serving a search warrant at a home in Tucson on February 13th, though no arrests were made at that time. The FBI recently increased the reward for information to $100,000 as the search for the 84-year-old remains a top priority. It is so effing crazy. So I think this is the one. This is a 1-minute video. I think this is the one that's from that airplane. Let's see.
Support of federal law enforcement. FBI is now.
I'll give you a little statement. I think we're doing very well on that regard. You're probably surprised to hear that. I think we're doing very well. Very well, meaning we have some clues, I think, that are very strong. And I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Is this a nationwide search? Is this a search going to Mexico?
I'm talking about a search. I'm talking about a solution. We have some things I think that will maybe come out reasonably soon from DOJ or FBI or whoever that could be
A suspect?
could be definitive. A lot's taken place in the last couple of hours. A lot of things have happened with regard to that horrible situation in the last couple of hours.
Horrible situation. So that's another tell that I have found. I think I was talking about that in last night's live. Horrible situation was exactly what he said about Virginia Giuffre. I think it was like the very next morning after she passed away last year, and a reporter was questioning him on the tarmac when he was on his way to or from the Pope's funeral. And the question was kind of open-ended, like, what are your thoughts on Virginia Giuffre? What are your thoughts on the news with Virginia Giuffre? Something like that. And he said, it's horrible. And, a couple of things. It's like he knows tens of thousands of people. So how could he have known who she was right off the top of his head? And he was already briefed on her self deletion, like within hours of it happening. Why would he be briefed about that? So the fact that he knew who she was, exactly who she was, he already knew what happened to her, and that he said is horrible, just the exact same way he said horrible with Savannah Guthrie's mom. It makes my head hurt. Let's see. And Thomas Massey's post, should we read that too? We have said that this kidnapping scenario is like a bad 70s movie, but it definitely seems like something that could happen in the country. Daddy Vladdy country is how I refer to it. The our country. Yeah, people, Daddy Vladdy, people around him fall out of buildings quite often, and poison is a big one. and car crashes and abductions, certainly. And the thing with it being like a bad 70s movie is that Bigley Pigley is kind of stuck in his mind in the 70s. I mean, that's really where his head is at. He's got like an arrested development, or it's like he's regressed back to 50 years ago. Like, I mean, he was at the top of his game. He was like, what, 28 years old? And so that would be like the mid 70s. He was in his early 30s by the late 70s. He was taking over New York City, or so he thought. And yeah, the whole thing is like a bad 70s movie. It really is, isn't it? Yes, that's the one. And yeah, everything goes back to the country that begins with the I, too. Drea, what's up? Happy Valentine's Day, my dear. We have some new visitors. We have Kelly, and we have Earthquake Awareness. So, Drea, how are you? How's your Valentine's Day going? Mine's been good. Mine has been good. It's been nice and mellow. I love mellow. That's kind of my jam. So yeah, Aaron Parnas, man, Aaron Parnas and Lev Parnas are producing so much good content. Okay, I'm trying to find the thing from Thomas Massey, his post. Let's see. Thomas Massey's post from today or yesterday saying that he is safe. Let's see. On February 13th, yesterday, Republican Thomas Massey posted a detailed message on X to reassure the public of his well-being amid escalating political tension surrounding his push for unredacted Trumpstein files. The post was a direct response to a follower's suggestion that he regularly affirm his safety. In it, Massey listed several specific health and safety assurances. Mental health, he said, quote, I am not suicidal, end quote. General health, he said, quote, I eat healthy food, end quote. Safety maintenance, quote, the brakes on my car and truck are in good shape, end quote. Firearms safety, I practice, quote, I practice good trigger discipline and never point a gun at anyone, including myself, end quote. Environmental hazards, quote, there are no deep pools of water on my farm and I'm a pretty good swimmer, end quote. This message followed his public clashes with Attorney General Pam Bondi over the Department of Justice's redactions in the Epstein documents. Yeah. It makes me think of Elaine Chow's sister, Angie Chow, that passed away in her Tesla when it drove itself into the small pond on her property a year ago. Wasn't that like February 11th last year? And Elaine Chow is married to the other Kentucky politician, the turtle guy without the chin. What's his name? Elaine Chow's sister, Angie Chow, drowns in her Tesla Mitch McConnell. It was 2 years ago now. Sorry, I thought it was last year. It's so hard to track time right now with all this crazed news cycle. Sister-in-law of Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, billionaire businesswoman Angela Chow lost her life after backing her Tesla into a pond, but Elon Musk can remote control all Teslas from his office, allegedly, according to him. Chow was attempting to make a 3-point turn at her ranch when she reportedly put her car in reverse instead of drive. It sent the vehicle into a pond on her property. Police say Chow called friends for help. They were right there. One jumped into the pond to attempt to rescue her, but was unable to break the Tesla's windows. And yeah, the whole thing was just a freaking nightmare. But I was just looking for the date. So it was March of 2024. Yeah, remember that, you guys? These things. I forgot to say Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, I thought of that too. About Elaine Chow, Mitch McConnell. Yeah, exactly. So I haven't even looked at my notes hardly at all. I'm like, I tried to come on earlier so that I wouldn't be like last night. I was kind of brain dead because it was so late when we were on, and I'm sundowning as it gets later. And you want to know what I did today? Speaking of sundowning, I was at the grocery store, and when I left my cell phone in the what do you call that little tray right where your handle for the grocery cart is. I left my cell phone there, and I didn't realize it for a couple of hours. And so I was about to come on live. So I was looking for my phone because I always want to have my phone with me. And I have my little spy watch that I can find it because, I'll lose it on the couch or in my pocket or whatever. And I can do that to find it. And so I did that, and it said that it was disconnected, which, that's a whole nother thing with Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker disconnected, because it's never said disconnected. And so I thought, well, maybe I left it out in the car, but I thought if it was out in the car, I don't think it would say disconnected. I just wouldn't hear it beeping. And so then my daughter looks on her phone. She has GPS on her phone for my phone, thank goodness. And she's like, it's at the store. So we went and got it, but it was a longer story than that because my son got in a car crash a couple days ago. So we have one car right now. And my husband had already taken the car to work for a 7:00 shift tonight. And so I had to ride my bike to the car to then drive the car to the grocery store to get my phone, and then drive the car back to my husband's department, and then ride my bike back home. And guess what happened to my bike as I was riding it back home? The chain completely broke. I was riding uphill, and the chain just snapped, and I fell. Luckily, I didn't hit the ground. I didn't get hurt. But so then I had to walk home. I had to walk my bike home. So it just kept getting later and later. And, I wasn't even going to share that whole story because it's kind of so mundane. But you know how it is. It's just one thing after another. So I'm just lucky that I didn't get hurt. And I'm lucky that my phone didn't get swiped because it's an iPhone, and I think you could probably drop it into any of those little kiosks at a mall, and the machine would spit $100 or $200 at you. So luckily somebody had turned it into customer service. And so I walked up to customer service and hit my little spy watch and it beeped and they handed it to me. So that was nice. Problem solved. Turtle guy, yeah, but true. Oh my gosh, I hope you're okay. Yeah, the bicycle chain thing, I was really lucky that didn't, like, I didn't even get hurt. Like, you can really hurt your crotch and on a bike like that if it hits you right there. And yeah, I didn't get hurt at all, so that was kind of a miracle. But I've been keeping up with my walking, I've been keeping up with my yoga. So I don't mind any of that. I didn't mind having to ride my bike. I didn't mind having to walk. It was dark, so I was wearing a Daedalo jacket and white pants, and it's warmed up quite a bit, thank goodness. So it wasn't raining, it wasn't cold, and I also have lights on my bike too. I have like the little white light on the front and the flashing red light on the back. So, and it's, it's not like any dangerous roads that I had to go on. Oh my goodness. So I was watching Heather Cox Richardson today. Do you guys watch Heather Cox Richardson? She was so brilliant. And she and her friend, Joanne Freeman, were talking about, and Heather didn't know this. Joanne was filling her in. Heather was kind of floored. Like, she was like, how did I not know this? In the revolutionary times, colleges were raising rebellious kids, basically. And it made me think of Charlie Kirk and how he would go to the colleges and try to talk circles around the liberal rebellious kids to get them in line. Not only that, but the way, there's a tape recording that I heard of him recently, and maybe I should try to pull that up for you guys so you believe me. Not that you wouldn't, but it's so unbelievable. He's having a conversation on a podcast where he says that basically, I think all Democrats should be taken to the guillotine, and that it should be done in public at the town square, and that it should be televised, and that children should be forced to watch in person. That's what Charlie Kirk said. And, like, why would you want to scare the kids to death like that? Like, we don't have to ask any questions about why the rest of it, because we know that that's just where they're coming from. But why would you want to scare the kids to death like that? In addition to making them be conformists, but especially if they'd already been abused when they were younger, and you're trying to make sure that they stay in line and keep their mouths shut. And so they were talking about how this current administration is terrorizing kids intentionally with the ICE crap, with, like, when they're like literally handcuffing babies. Like, all of that is for show to scare all of the kids. Yeah. Awful. And I also heard a thing today on a podcast about how, let me see if I can find it. Epstein not only wanted to populate the world with his genes, he wanted tall, thin, blonde, white women with blue eyes, like Kylie Rodney. And one of the reasons that he thought he should be basically cloned or procreate with multiple people is because of his musical ingenuity. Again, confirming the whole thing with Kylie and her musical prodigy. What was that? It might have been in the Love Remembers that I was watching. I think it was. Um, oh no, it was this. It was Waj Ali, and he had Lev on as a guest. It was in that video. It was in the Waj Ali. Um, I don't think I'd be able to find it if I tried. I was going to try to timestamp it, but I don't think I did. Elon is a musician. I find that hard to believe. No, sorry, not Elon. Jeffrey. But yeah, I mean, Elon wants to procreate too because he thinks he's so brilliant. He's God's gift. But they are only targeting illegals, Jazz. Oh, so sorry to hear it sounds like me. Oh, with the bike and everything, the phone and then the bike. Friday the 13th happened today. Exactly. No, but I found a lucky penny. I went for a long walk today and I found a lucky penny. So that's why I didn't get hurt when the bike thing happened, right? So, oh yeah, you're good, Annabes. What was this thing? Let me play something for you that I did timestamp. Did I play this last night, Annabes? I don't think I did.
Watch how shelters get 50 untrained dogs to use pads instantly.
Everybody, Tim from the Bulwark here. I just got off.
I did play it, didn't I, Anna? Last night? I think I did. About 2 minutes in, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about it, so we'll play it again.
Which, to me, I just think this is the beginning of the end of Mike Johnson's speakership. And that is going to be a really dark quote for him to look back on when he's in the minority, when he realizes that his speakership is gone for good. And he was trying to jail his colleagues, saying they should be jailed for putting out a video where they simply said that members of the military should not follow unlawful orders. Members of the military should live up to their oath. That's all they said. Mike Johnson thinks they should be jailed for that. Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, we'll see.
He's talking about that whole Mark Kelly thing that I was speaking of earlier, and the dog scratching at the door. One sec.
Goes around, comes around on that. But I was intrigued by Tom Tillis, who's retiring, has finally found a spine. And so he, said that political lawfare is wrong, no matter either party. It's like, okay, buddy, let's not try to compare Merrick Garland limply going after Donald Trump's myriad real crimes to Donald Trump and Pam Bondi going after Mark Kelly for imaginary crimes. Right? It's not the same thing. But I was interested in Chuck Grassley's point. Here's what he said to Perdico. I think our law enforcement people ought to be spending their time on making our community safe and going after real lawbreakers. That's an important point, Grandpa. That's an important point, Grandpa Chuck.
I did play this for you last night.
The amount of resources that's being spent on chasing after fake crime by this administration at the expense of efforts to go after real criminals is truly mind-blowing. It is no longer go after white-collar crime at all. If you're a rich guy, you have impunity in this country right now. You can do whatever you want. If you're a crypto scammer, you can do whatever you want. If you're kidnapping Nancy Guthrie, no results on that yet. And yet instead, we have all these law enforcement officers and officials and resources.
He's the first giant content creator that I've heard drop suspicion about Nancy Guthrie. The way he says it, it's like he knows that Biggly Piggly's behind it too. Don't you think so? I'm glad I played that again for you guys. Yes, you did. Thanks. I know. At first, I wasn't sure if I did or not. I was going to let the dog in. Now they're not scratching, but I'll go ahead and let them in. I got Coco. I think Coco. Oh, I've got Coco and Cheese already in here, but it's Mookie that needs to come in. One sec. Come on, Mookie. Come on in. Come on in, baby. Mookie, come on in. Come on in, Cheese. Come on in. Sitting out. In or out. In or out. Okay. The two that were in went out, and the one that was out came in. I've got my purse right there to trip over, so I'm like all awkward getting in and out of my chair. Plus, I'm all like tucked away into the corner. Mookie, come here, baby. I didn't realize Cheese was over there. She's so quiet because she's usually so loud. Yeah, I'm just amazed that the way Tim said that. And again, the way he like cut into silence is, you know, sort of like how Savannah Guthrie cut into that silence after she said the Hannibal Lector thing. How crazy. How freaking crazy. To even think, like, even for me to be suspicious of a president of our country being behind something so evil, it's just astounding, isn't it? Oh, man. It's absolutely insane. So, yeah, I think I have this whole page of notes to look at. So, you know, Annabes and anyone else who has heard me say this a bunch of times in the past, nobody wants to think about who Biggly Piggly is screwing around with, right? And we all want to think that he's post-sexual, which is what his administration says about him. And it's like, we don't want to know. Like, no one asked. Don't talk about it. Don't say post-sexual because we don't want to think about before post-sexual because that's just so gross. But he's not. He was having an affair with one of his assistants, which isn't really having an affair with an assistant. That's called like sexual harassment, right? I mean, that's abuse of power. And yeah. My point in bringing that up is that dirty old men just get dirtier and creepier as they get older. I'm going to bet my money that he is actively doing everything that's in those freaking files, basically. I hate to say that because it's so disgusting. And it's just my opinion, and it could be incorrect. But what would stop him? Being the most powerful freaking douchebag in the world. I think it's something that needs to be spoken about and pondered publicly. Yes, they do. I have seen it. I like your comment before that too. Yeah, he said that, and that proves we're not crazy. He's a guy, so it proves that we're not crazy, but he is gay, so therefore we might be crazy because he might be crazy too. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, Tim Miller is very level-headed. He too was a staunch Republican, and he's had a very successful career. He worked in the White House. I think he wrote presidential speeches, I think. Let me find out what AI says, what Tim Miller did in the White House. What was Tim Miller's job in the White House from Bulwark? Oh, he did not hold a job in the White House. He was former Republican operative communications consultant. Worked on political campaigns, director of Jeb Bush's 2016 presidential campaign. His name is associated with the executive branch due to his career as a high-level Republican operative. His roles were focused on presidential campaigns and party leadership rather than the administration itself. His most prominent political roles include the communications director for Jeb Bush, communications deputy director for the RNC during the 2012 cycle. That's what I was thinking about. National press secretary for John Huntsman's 2012 presidential campaign, executive director of America Rising, a GOP opposition research firm. He eventually left the Republican Party and became a leading Never Trump voice, co-founding Republican Voters Against Trump before joining the Bulwark as a writer and podcast host. But yeah, he's so good, Tim Miller. And so when I was speaking about the Trumpstein files in the DOJ right now, and how they only have 4 computers for all of the Congress to share to look at the files, and they only get an hour each at a time to look at 3 million files, 4 computers, 1 hour each. And that Pam Bondi is illegally monitoring all of their searches. And I didn't mention that yesterday. I meant to, so that's why I'm mentioning it now. Have you guys noticed Tom Homan just lost like 50 or 100 pounds, like in the blink of an eye? He must be doing the fat drug. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild. He's like disappearing in front of our very eyes. Maybe he's realizing that's the only way out. It's just like any type of cult. There's no way out. If you want out, the only way to leave is to fake your death, basically, like Lil Eve might have, right? So you guys know who Scott Bessent is? He's one of the cabinet members in charge of, he's so stupid. I have this great quote from him, but I forget what his title is. He's a dumb MF. Let's see. What is Scott Bessent's title? Scott Bessent's position in the government. He's the Department of Treasury. Then what's that other guy? The billionaire guy that's such a goofball that lived in the pink house. So Scott Bessent is the Department of Treasury guy. He's so dumb. He was asked today or yesterday if he was feeling at odds with Lutnick after Lutnick was caught in all the lies. And he just grinned ear to ear and said, Lutnick is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. It's just like, are you 5? No offense to 5-year-olds, but that's your response when you're the Secretary of Treasury, and what the F is Lutnick's position? I mean, they're all just buffoons. What is Lutnick's position? Not sexual position. Secretary of Commerce. So Treasury, Commerce, and then who's that other guy? Scott Besson. His name is very similar. Who's the only gay man in Trump's administration? Only outwardly gay man. Wait, that's Scott Besson. So who is the other guy? Oh, I think I got my wires crossed. It wasn't Scott Besson who said that, because I knew that Scott Besson was the Secretary of the Treasury. Is it like Besant? Is that? It's very similar. Very, very similar. Who's the other guy? Who in the Trump administration said that Lutnick is one of his best friends in the whole wide world today? Or yesterday? Or yesterday? It doesn't know. It's too embarrassed to tell us. Oh, what is that guy's name? I'm thinking his name is Tim something. I'm sorry, you guys. Help my brain. You know, it was on a video from I've Had It podcast. So I'll figure it out and clarify later if I can't figure it out real quick right now. I think I probably should sign off because it's that point where my brain is melting. What did I say it was? The I've Had It podcast.
Oh my God. Whoever invented this?
I wish I didn't get my wires crossed like that. And it's funny that I wrote down Scott Besson because I was looking at the guy's face and thinking that's not Scott Besson. It's this guy.
The sheer scope of how many people are this emotionally stunted. And I had an idea living in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Secretary Lutnick is one of my best friends in the whole wide world, so I'm very comfortable working with him.
Are you involved in? I mean, are these guys in second grade? Like, he's my best friend in the whole wide world. And then he gets on the tarmac there, and then he lectures Americans on not having free speech. And so this hypocrisy and this duplicity is a feature, not a bug. of fascist regimes. It is a feature. This is intentional. I don't think he expected
totally
a hero's
spacing out.
welcome. This is martyrdom and victimhood. That is a feature, not a bug in this Trump MAGA regime. Moving along, Howard Lutnick, the man who took his children, identified their ages, and emailed them to a convicted sexual trafficker pedophile named Jeffrey Epstein, and lied about it, and now is going in front of Congress and continuing to try to somehow make it okay that he exposed his own children to this, which I think is just about the most disgusting gutter snipe smut imaginable for a parent.
Agreed.
And here is this gross MAGA sycophant who always has this shit-eating grin on his face at all times. Hassett. Listen to this.
Hassett.
Do you still feel comfortable working with Secretary Lutnick after the new ties to Jeffrey Epstein?
So he's the Economic Council Director, Kevin Hassett. And so I was like watching this video and writing his name down, looking right at him. Kevin Hassett. This was this morning. I guess I hadn't had enough coffee because it was the first video that I watched this morning. And I wrote Scott Besson. I know exactly who Scott Besson is because, like I said, he's like the only openly gay guy, and he's the Secretary of the Treasury. And he also always has a grin on his face. But Kevin Hassett is even stupider, it seems. And that's evidence right there. That thing that they said that I was repeating for you guys about how Kevin Hassett said, Howard Lutnick is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. So crazy. But yeah, we've been on for almost an hour and a half. It's 10:30 at night. Me brain fried. Thanks for being here, you guys. Let me read your last couple of comments and then sign off. Let's see. Earthquake says, I agree. I think that the reason for dropping the something recommendations on food, the FDA recommendation on food, and making health insurance more expensive and other things to harm us is to delete all the people with health conditions, survival of the fittest. Well, I agree, Anna Bees. I think they tried to delete a lot of with that survival of the fittest with the COVID thing too. I mean, I don't think that pandemic was an accident. I just don't. So yeah, I don't think I have anything in this notebook. Okay, I should wrap up. My brain is just too fried to continue. But I was thinking of maybe sharing a really funny Josh Johnson. You know how I always love to end with something funny. And it was a Josh Johnson short, so it's just like a minute long. And it just kind of reminded me of me. It's like talking about conspiracy theorists. This is so cute. You're going to love it. Where is it? Josh Johnson, where are you at? Where you be? Oh, the shorts are like kept in a different search. There we go. Here we go.
I'm not acting like I read 3.5 million documents. Just based on what I've read so far.
I'm going to rewind it there from the very beginning.
I'm not acting like I read 3.5 million documents.
Oh, that was the beginning.
Just based on what I've read so far, I actually owe a lot of the conspiracy theorists I know an apology. GIB, it's very hard for me when it comes to the everything's connected people, you know? Because not everything feels connected. You know, you'll have people who are like, it's all connected. It's all connected, all right? All of it. Jean Benet, 9/11, and the tiger that went missing at the zoo. It's all connected. That's the other thing about my friends who say it's all connected. They stare, and it's like if you would stop, if you would blink, I might. I'm not.
Okay, that was funny, but it gets funnier. It's all connected. John Bonet, 9/11, and the tiger that's missing at the zoo. Let me see if I can get it right back to where it was.
All right. All of it. Jean Benet, 9/11, and the tiger that went missing at the zoo. It's all connected. That's the other thing about my friends who say it's all connected. They stare, and it's like if you would stop, if you would blink, I might be on board quicker. But the way that you can't just tell somebody, even if it's a fact, even if you're telling somebody the truth, you could be telling somebody the full truth. If you stare, it does take them out of what the truth is. You gotta stop. You might tell someone a fact, a thing that they know to be true, but if you stare afterwards, you kill your own momentum. You could be looking at your friend. It's Tuesday. Do you see how I don't care what day it is for a second? I'm not acting like I read 3.5 million documents.
Is that so cute? It's Tuesday. Too funny. All right. Love. Happy Valentine's. And keep praying for Savannah Guthrie's family and Nancy Guthrie's safety. Hoping against hope. Maybe we can get Mookie to do a little cameo as we say goodnight. Mookie, come here, baby. Mookie, come. Mookie, come here. No, she's like, feed me. It's late. It's 10:30 and I haven't fed the dogs their dinner yet. So she's like, wrap it up, Mom. Thanks so much for hanging out, you guys. Let me go feed my dogs and I'll see you tomorrow or Monday. The sooner the better, right?